want to go back to technicalities?
That was a baby with its own. Listen, you might not like me. No, that was a baby. Let me tell you something. What you ended was a unique genetic code that had eye color, hair color, how tall it would be, how much it would weigh, its personality, proclivity toward mental illness, what kind of hair pattern to male pattern baldness. When you had that abortion performed, you eliminated all of that. That's a scientific fact.
Of all the Change My Mind segments we've conducted, this one became the most intensely personal.
Hi, how are you?
Meet Yara.
I'm really trying not to. People were hyping my nerves in there. So.
Oh, really? What's your name?
Yara.
Yara Steven, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, Yara. So you just
before this, I just want to say no personal offense to either one of us. Like,
I appreciate
respect
that.
Your opinion.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I know you just said you have to calm yourself down because people are hyping your nerves.
I do. I need to calm down for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you need? You were hoping there was some.
Water?
You know, it's the legality of we can't necessarily give people water because then they go, I got salmonella, and then they point to me. You know, with the YouTube channel. So you seem like you're upset. Obviously, the sign is pretty clear. I'm pro-life. You've been listening to some conversations. If you disagree with my position, you're welcome to change my mind. But you still need to calm your nerves. What are you so upset about?
One thing that definitely really strikes a chord with me is the fact that a majority of women who have actually had to face the choice of abortion, it is because it was either necessary, it was medically necessary, or it was just a decision that really was the fork in the road of your future. Mm-hmm. And from my understanding, a majority of men, I understand they pay child support. I understand that a man is half what it takes to create a child.
Sure.
But when you are by yourself and you are alone and it is dark and you have to face, do I lose my future? Like, do I throw away my education? Mm-hmm. I can go back. Yeah, you always say I can go back, but that's twice as hard raising a child by yourself. I watched my mom as a single mother, and I don't want that life for myself. And abortion itself, it's a right. I understand the legalities behind late abortion, and I do not support it unless it is medically necessary.
Okay.
In the terms of it would kill the mother, the fetus is no longer viable.
Can I pause you real quick? Just because you've gone to a few different things.
Yes.
First off, I appreciate you being so forthcoming with your personal story. You didn't have to do that, so I do appreciate that.
I understand a lot of people are not willing to talk about it.
Well, thank you very much. So here, let me present you this bill, because it sounds like we might find some common ground here. This is a bill proposed for babies who survive abortions.
In terms, what term were they aborted? At what point?
Well, no, this is about all babies who survive abortions. Whether
okay,
the later term
you
or...
have to ask, what point are these children surviving these abortions?
You can read it right here. What it basically requires is that doctors simply provide the same kind of medical care to born babies from survived abortions as born babies who didn't survive attempted abortions. Every major DNC candidate voted against that protection. What would you say to that? Does that make it moral?
No, that's not in the sense of like moralities when it comes to having the abortion in general. You're talking about saving a child who did actually survive.
Survive an abortion, yeah.
And in that point, yeah, you do have that common ground. Mm-hmm. But what we're talking about today is the initial access of abortions and women who need them.
Sure.
Because
you've not convinced me that women need them. Certainly, they don't need them. They don't need to kill another human being.
You may not feel like they need them, but you know what? I'm prospering. I'm actually out here, I'm creating a life for myself, and I'm hoping to make a future for myself, and other women are on the same page as I am.
Are you saying that you've had an abortion? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to say that publicly because
okay, well, you just came out here and
said
you just said I'm prospering, you just brought up abortion, so I'm confused as to the train of logic. Why does that matter?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
You know what? I had to sit in that chair, and I had to face the facts that yes, what I was doing was something that was going to change my future, and it did. Yeah. Because I was left alone. I was left to pay for everything. I did not qualify for any kind of funding or payments that people say exist. And everybody who wants to say I would have adopted your baby, I'm sorry, but go adopt the other 4,000 that are already in foster care programs here. And You can't tell
Just
me.
because not everyone here would adopt that baby doesn't mean it's justifiably killed.
It doesn't mean that it was justifiably meant to force me to have a baby.
No one's forcing you to have a baby.
You would if you took away the law.
No, no one would be forcing you to have a baby. We'd simply be forbidding you from killing it.
No, you would be forcing.
No one's forcing you to have a baby. The only forcible act there is the act of killing.
How many single women, how many single parents who are women are in poverty? Do you know the percentage?
It could not be less relevant.
How is that less relevant? Because I'm going to tell you from a perspective.
Well, you just
of
asked me,
being,
but then you said I'm going to tell you. Did you want to ask me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know the percentage?
It could not be less relevant because you're not justified in killing somebody based on poverty, income, race, sex, gender, period. It's never justified.
That's hilarious because a lot of our politicians have justifiably killed other people for less.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't speak for all politicians, but to go to your argument, I don't believe you're justified in killing someone because of a lower income level.
I feel like I'm justified in saving myself from having to be forced into that lower income level just because I don't have the accesses of other women who are able to have a husband to support them, have the ability to pay the $15,000+ in medical bills.
Because like I said, it's hard to go back. It's hard to go back when you have a baby. Like you talk about going back to school, it's really hard to go back.
Yeah, it's hard to get educated. It's hard to even support yourself. It's hard to breathe right now as it is.
It's hard to go back in time and unring that bell.
Single person.
Yeah. That baby doesn't get to go back.
That baby was never alive
because
it wasn't viable until it's outside of the womb. And we want to go back to technicalities.
That was a baby with its own. Listen, you might not like this. No, that was a baby. Let me tell you something. What you ended was a unique genetic code that had eye color, hair color, how tall it would be, how much it would weigh, its personality, proclivity toward mental illness, what kind of hair pattern to male pattern baldness. When you had that abortion performed, you eliminated all of that. That's a scientific fact.
The fact is that it was a choice and it was something that had to be done.
I think you handled yourself very well. And again, this is not even to speak of our disagreements. I think that's why people had a very passionate response. And I know you said it's been a whirlwind. What would you say the overall response has been? Because I've tried to direct my fans, my followers, to be respectful. And I've seen that, in my experience, from my point of view, be the majority of it. Has that been the case?
It really depends on what platform you're looking at or what social media you're looking at. Because when I contacted you, I made a Twitter. I'd never really had a Twitter. So I was like, okay, well, maybe if I just kind of get ahead of it and say my small little piece that I can in the little amount of words that Twitter allows you, maybe it'll kind of help me a little, I guess. And Twitter was very positive. I had a couple sour apples, nobody that I can't handle, something that I expected. However, I did feel more judgment on, I guess, YouTube and Facebook.
Sure.
I can understand people don't agree with what I did and some of the points that I did bring up. And having done more research, the conversation itself actually did impact my perspective of the entire conversation.
How so?
Well, in a sense, I gathered that what people had assumed of me was that I did not regret my decision, that I was using it as contraceptive, and that, I was this bad person overall because I was wrong in my form of justification. It made me realize that, yes, I do regret the decision. It's, personally, I didn't get to say this. It's not something I would do again, I didn't get the chance to say that I felt as though I squandered my opportunity in what you would call motherhood. And, I had felt justified in what I had done, but having the conversation kind of made me question my motives, question, did I actually, take advantage of all the opportunities that were available? But it even also made me want to ask myself, why? Like, why other women feel the way that I feel as well, what are those external forces that guided my decision, and how many people feel that same way? So,
Wow.
you know, yeah, I agree. It's not very moral.
What you're sort of explaining here is the intended goal of the segment, but we often don't get to follow up with people, and so it goes out kind of into the ether, and we hope that it works.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.